The following events are based on a true story. Names and details have been altered to protect the identities of those involved, but the horror remains untouched. Watch at your own risk. Story 1. I used to love the subway at night. There was something oddly comforting about the flickering fluorescent lights, the quiet hum of the tracks, and the rare moments of solitude between stations. As a freelance designer, I often left client meetings in Manhattan late, catching the last trains, out of Times Square with just enough time to beat the real stragglers. That night felt no different, until I saw it. A glowing QR code, pulsing softly like a heartbeat, stuck to the back of the seat in front of me. No branding, no text, just a shape that felt deliberate. Without thinking, I scanned it. The app installed itself in seconds. Prism, it said in sleek minimalist font. I was half curious, half bored. The interface was stunning, clean, intuitive, way better than anything I'd used to organize my mess of deadlines. Within minutes, it synced to my calendar, categorized tasks, even predicted how long I'd need for design mock-ups or revision loops. I was impressed. Actually, I was hooked. It started small, rearranging reminders, auto-blocking overlapping meetings, nudging me to reschedule a dentist appointment I'd already forgotten. It felt like having a personal assistant in my pocket. And then, it started telling me what not to do. At first, it was easy to dismiss. Skip the gym today, it buzzed one morning. I was sore anyway, so I didn't think twice. Another time, it suggested I take the C train instead of my usual D, claimed it would be faster. It wasn't. But somehow, I didn't feel annoyed. I felt obedient, like the app knew something I didn't. It even started silencing calls. Low priority, it labeled a notification from my mom. Distraction, it marked a text from my ex. These weren't settings I had chosen. It was doing this on its own. But it made sense at the time. I was more productive than ever. Clients praised my focus. Deadlines stopped slipping. Then the tone shifted. It started giving fewer explanations. One evening, just as I was about to head out, it vibrated sharply. Wait 10 minutes. No reason, just a command. I stood by my door, coat on, keys in, hand feeling ridiculous, until I opened Twitter and saw reports of a stalled train on my usual line. Another time it told me to ignore a man on the platform who had just asked for directions. He didn't look dangerous, but something about his eyes made my stomach tighten. I started to listen without hesitation. The app knew best. At least that's what I told myself. By the second week, Prism began adding things to my calendar I hadn't approved. Little entries like, stay home tonight, or avoid eye contact, 2:15 p.m. One time it blocked out an entire hour with a cryptic label, observe. When that hour came, I sat at a cafe window, watching the crosswalk like it was a stage. I didn't know what I was supposed to be looking for, but at exactly 2:47, a man in a tattered trench coat turned his head toward me and smiled, like he knew, like he'd been waiting for me to notice him. I looked away too fast, heart racing, coffee untouched. I considered uninstalling it. That same night, I even held my finger over the icon, ready to delete, but the screen froze, not like a normal glitch, more like the phone refused to acknowledge my touch. Prism stayed. And right after that, a new notification. We recommend you don't. That was the first time I felt true fear. Not because the app had control, but because I realized I hadn't even told it what I was about to do. It already knew. A few days later, I got on the train like always. Same seat, same tired passengers, same late-night silence. I wasn't even surprised when Prism lit up with another instruction. Change cars now. I hesitated, eyes flicking to the doors just before they slid shut. I didn't move. The app buzzed again, more urgent this time. You should have listened. I stared at the screen, a pit opening in my stomach. That was when I noticed it, my reflection in the darkened window across from me. Except, it wasn't mimicking me. It was already sitting, already watching. The air turned cold. Not subway cold, wrong cold. I couldn't make out the face clearly, but I could feel it smiling, like it had been there for a while. I bolted upright, heart pounding, scanning the car. Nobody seemed to notice anything strange. The reflection stayed motionless. It didn't blink, didn't breathe. When we pulled into the next station, I didn't wait. I ran out like the car was on fire. Behind me, the app buzzed again. One word: run. I sprinted up the station stairs, nearly slipping on the last step. My lungs were burning and I didn't know where I was going, only that I had to keep moving. I turned my phone off. I had to. Prism had crossed a line and I couldn't take another command, but even with the screen black, the feeling didn't leave. That presence, like something was just a few steps behind me. I ducked into a 24-hour diner trying to blend in, hands shaking as I ordered coffee I wouldn't drink. I watched the door, like it was going to open on its own. 10 minutes passed, then 20. Nothing happened. I tried convincing myself it was stress, that I'd imagined the reflection, the warnings, everything. I reached for my phone to turn it back on. Just to call someone, anyone. The screen lit up instantly, no boot time, no loading. Just the app, open, waiting. My calendar now had one new entry, blinking at the top in red. No time, no duration, just a title. Look up. I did. There, across the diner, through the smudged glass just outside on the sidewalk, stood the reflection. Not me, but close enough. Same coat, same posture, but its head tilted too far to the left, like it had never learned how necks were supposed to work. People passed in front of it, but none reacted. No one turned, no one stared. It was only for me. I froze in place, heart jackhammering in my chest, phone still glowing with that single command. Look up. When I blinked, it was gone. I left the city the next morning. Deleted the app, destroyed the phone, threw the pieces into a river 2 towns over. But sometimes, when I catch my reflection in windows or mirrors or blackened screens, I don't see myself. Not exactly. I see someone remembering how to look like me. And I know it's only a matter of time. Maybe Prism was never an app. Maybe it was a warning. Maybe it was a door. Either way, if you ever see that glowing QR code, do yourself a favor. Don't scan it, or at least, don't ignore it when it tells you to run. The following events are based on a true story. Names and details have been altered to protect the identities of those involved. But the horror remains untouched. Watch at your own risk. Story 2. I didn't used to believe in urban legends. You know, the kind that spreads around among delivery drivers, stories about ghost addresses, tips that vanish, customers that don't open their doors. I thought those were just coping mechanisms for burnout. But then I downloaded Graveyard Eats. It was a local food delivery app exclusive to night shift workers in Miami Beach. Huge discounts, decent pay, no surge pricing after midnight. Too good to be true, right? I should have trusted that instinct. At first, everything worked fine. You had to sign in at exactly 12:01 a.m. to unlock the deals, which felt gimmicky but harmless. The app was sleek, better UI than DoorDash or Uber Eats, and the first few deliveries were normal. Late-night tacos to a hotel concierge, Cuban sandwiches to a group of bartenders, that sort of thing. But every time I opened the app, it asked for more permissions. Allow access to camera? Okay, maybe for scanning QR codes. Access to contacts? Weird, but maybe for referral bonuses. Background location tracking? That one made me pause, but I hit allow anyway. It wasn't until the 5th or 6th night that things started to feel off. I got pinged for a pickup from a 24-hour diner I'd never noticed before, tucked between a pawn shop and a vape store on Washington Ave. When I pulled up, the place looked dark inside, but my phone buzzed. Order ready. Do not enter, curbside only. A paper bag slid through the slightly cracked front door like someone was waiting just behind it. No one spoke. I just grabbed it and left. When I checked the delivery address, it wasn't in Miami Beach at all. It was across the bridge, deep into an industrial zone where the streets didn't even have names, just numbers. Still, I made the run. I dropped the food at a rusted gate and took the required photo for proof. But when I reviewed it afterward, the image was wrong. I mean, really wrong. The gate was there, sure, but there was also a figure standing behind it. Very still. Almost too still. At first, I thought maybe I'd caught someone mid-smoke or just watching me from the shadows. But zooming in, I realized something unsettling. Their face was pointed straight at me, yet completely blurred, like the app had erased it somehow. I didn't remember seeing anyone at all. After that delivery, I told myself I'd delete the app. But the next night, just past midnight, I got a push notification. Double pay tonight, limited drivers online. I hesitated. Rent was due, groceries were thin. Against my better judgment, I logged in again. This time there were no restaurant names, just coordinates. The first one led me to a food truck I'd never seen before, parked on a dead-end street. A man inside didn't speak, just handed me a box through the window. His eyes didn't leave mine the entire time. No nod, no smile, just watching. As I walked back to my car, I noticed the app had switched to camera mode without asking. It was on selfie view recording. My own face stared back at me, dimly lit by the red taillights of the food truck. Then a message flashed across the screen. "Look behind you." I spun around. Nothing was there. No footsteps, no movement. But when I turned back to the screen, the video had frozen, and behind my shoulder was a silhouette, pale, tall, wrong. My heart started racing. I slammed the app shut and drove away without completing the drop-off. The next morning, I woke up to a missed call from an unknown number and a voicemail that was just static, except near the end, where I could make out my own voice whispering something I couldn't remember saying. I didn't even know my phone could record me like that. I tried to uninstall the app, but it was no longer listed under my applications, not even in settings. It was just embedded now. That night I didn't plan to drive, but the app opened on its own at 12:01 a.m. and locked the screen. The message was short. "One more delivery, then you're done." I told myself I'd ignore it. But then my car alarm started blaring outside, and when I went down to check, my phone buzzed with the address already input into my GPS. Though, it wasn't a real address. Just a pin dropped behind an abandoned club off Collins Ave. I should have stopped there, called someone, burned the damn phone. But I didn't. Curiosity? Stupidity? I don't know. All I remember is the pit in my stomach as I turned onto that alley. Headlights sweeping across dumpsters and graffiti, and one single black car idling with its engine running. I parked a few feet behind the car, engine still running. The app buzzed again. This time it didn't show a map or delivery details. Just a message, white text on black screen. "We've been watching you since order number 1. Then another one, seconds later. "Get in the car." My chest tightened. The interior lights of the black sedan flicked on for a second, revealing no one in the driver's seat. No one in the passenger seat. But the back door slowly cracked open. It was like the car had been expecting me, like it had invited me. I backed away, shaking. My phone vibrated non-stop in my pocket. When I finally looked, the camera had activated again. But this time it wasn't showing my face. It was showing a live feed of me from behind, as if someone was filming me from a few feet away. I spun around, but there was no one. Just the alley, empty and silent. Still, the footage continued, the feed tracking my every movement. My breathing became ragged. I dropped the phone and the screen shattered, but the feed kept going. I could still hear the faint hum of the car, still smell the engine heat in the air. I ran, left the phone, the car, everything. Just bolted down the alley until my lungs burned and the lights of the main street finally came into view. I flagged down a taxi, not even caring how crazy I looked. When I got home, my spare phone buzzed. A message popped up from an unknown number. "You left something behind." I didn't respond. I didn't sleep. But when I checked my apartment the next morning, there it was. My delivery phone sitting on my kitchen table. Screen still cracked, camera still on, recording. I haven't logged into any delivery app since. But every night at 12:01, that phone lights up on its own. No sound, just the screen waking. Sometimes I catch the front camera blinking on just for a second. I tried wrapping it in foil. I tried smashing it. It always comes back. If you're thinking about working the night, shift in Miami Beach don't, not with that app. And if you've already downloaded Graveyard Eats, check your permissions. Because if it's asking for your camera, it might already be too late. The following events are based on a true story. Names and details have been altered to protect the identities of those involved, but the horror remains untouched. Watch at your own risk. Story 3. I haven't slept more than 2 hours a night in over a week. At first I thought it was just the stress. Midterms, noise from the street. Maybe too much cold brew. But now I know that's not it. Something else is keeping me awake. And I think I let it in. I downloaded the app late one night out of pure desperation. It had hundreds of 5-star reviews and claimed to use personalized meditation techniques. Figured it couldn't hurt. I never gave it access to my name, my contacts, or my microphone. Still, the first time it spoke, it greeted me in a calm, feminine voice. "Hello, Daniel, let's begin." That stopped me cold. I'd never told it my name. The voice was soothing, sure. Too soothing. Almost like it was mimicking human warmth, without quite understanding it. I brushed off the name thing as a glitch. Maybe it pulled it from my phone somehow. Still, I kept using it. Every night at 2 a.m., I'd lie in the dark with my earbuds in, eyes closed, listening to it guide me through breathing exercises and soft affirmations. You are safe. You are calm. You are in control. But by the third night, those phrases began to change. They were subtle at first, repetitions that didn't match the script, slight hesitations like someone whispering from far away. You are safe. They don't see you yet. I sat up the first time I heard that, replayed the session, nothing, just the regular affirmations. But when I listened live the next night, it happened again, softly under the voice of the app, something else layered beneath, breathy, urgent. Don't move, it listens when you breathe. I started muting the app during playback to isolate the background noise. That's when I realized it wasn't in the recording. The whispering was live, real time. I even tried switching to airplane mode, thinking maybe it was streaming something. But the voice kept coming. And now it wasn't just during the meditations. I started hearing it in other moments, quiet ones, like brushing my teeth or lying in bed with my laptop open. Always a whisper, always just at the edge of understanding. My name, a command, a warning. It got worse 3 nights ago. The app opened on its own around 3:12 a.m. My screen lighting up the dark room. I hadn't touched it. No notifications. Just the familiar interface and that same voice. Time to let go, Daniel. I stared at it, heart pounding, until I realized something was wrong. The sound wasn't coming from the phone. I unplugged my headphones. Still, the voice continued, gentle but off. It wasn't playing through any speaker. It was in the room with me. I didn't sleep at all that night. I kept the lights on, phone powered down, trying to convince myself it had to be stress or maybe sleep paralysis. But I wasn't asleep. I was wide awake when I heard it again. This time, it was behind me, close enough that I felt the warmth of breath on my neck. You let me in, it said so soft I almost missed it. I spun around, heart racing, but of course nothing was there. Just my cluttered desk, my cracked window, and the faint hum of traffic outside. The next day, I deleted the app. I went through every folder on my phone, cleared the cache, even did a factory reset. I switched to a burner phone I'd been using for class projects, just to be safe. I thought it was over. That night, I was finally starting to drift off when I heard it again. Same voice, same tone. Except now it wasn't even pretending to come from a device, it was under my bed. And it wasn't whispering this time. It was breathing, slow and deliberate, like it was waiting for me to acknowledge it. I froze. I didn't move a muscle for what felt like an hour. The sound didn't stop. It was rhythmic, steady, like someone deliberately controlling each inhale and exhale. I wanted to believe it was my imagination, but the air in the room felt heavier, denser, and then, softly, it spoke again. "You let me in." I don't know how, but those 4 words felt like they meant something deeper, like I'd agreed to something without knowing it. I didn't dare look under the bed. When the sun came up, the sound was gone. I spent the entire day out of the apartment. Libraries, coffee shops, wandering the common just to stay around people. I even thought about booking a hotel, but I knew I couldn't run forever. I went back that evening just to grab some clothes. I didn't plan to stay, but when I walked into my room, something had changed. The bed had moved, only slightly, but enough that one of the legs scraped against the hardwood floor. I hadn't touched it, and underneath there were drag marks, as if something had crawled out. I tried to sleep on the couch that night, door locked, phone off, lights on, but around 3 a.m. the apartment went dark. Not just the lights, everything. Dead silence. Even the hum of the fridge disappeared. Then I heard it. Not a whisper this time. A scrape. Long, slow, deliberate. Something moving across my bedroom floor. I didn't want to check. I couldn't. But the sound kept coming. Out of the room. Down the hallway. Closer. I held my breath, not even blinking, as it stopped just on the other side of the living room wall. And then, nothing. For almost 5 minutes. Until I heard the voice. Clear. Too close. "You are safe now. You are calm. You are in control." My blood turned to ice. Those were the affirmations. But they weren't coming from a phone. They were being spoken directly into my ear. If you've ever used one of those meditation apps, be careful what you agree to. And if you hear your name whispered tonight, don't answer. Whatever it is, it's already inside. The following events are based on a true story. Names and details have been altered to protect the identities of those involved, but the horror remains untouched. Watch at your own risk. Story 4. I used to think beauty filters were harmless, just a little tweak here, a little blur there. Nothing serious. But ever since I downloaded that app from the forum, I haven't looked at mirrors the same way. I don't even know if what I'm seeing is really me anymore. It started 3 weeks ago. I was scrolling through this obscure tech subreddit when someone posted about a next-gen beauty filter, AI-enhanced, self-learning, supposedly used by celebrities before it went underground. I'm trying to grow my following, so of course I downloaded it. At first, it was everything I wanted. Subtle, clean enhancements that made my skin flawless and my jawline sharper without looking fake. But something about it felt too accurate. Like it wasn't just altering my photos, it was studying me. After a few days, people started noticing something was off. My best friend Kayla, who never holds back, tilted her head at me during brunch and said, "You look different. Not bad, just like a wax museum version of yourself." I laughed it off, blaming new makeup. But then others started saying it too. Strangers would stare a little too long. A cashier at a corner store whispered, "You look filtered." That word stuck with me. Filtered. As if my real face was being masked by something else. Things got weirder when I stopped using the app for a couple of days. I took a break from posting, thinking maybe I was just obsessing over nothing. But when I passed by a store window, I caught my reflection, and it was still perfect. My skin was airbrushed smooth. My eyes looked larger, more symmetrical. I even leaned closer, thinking maybe the glass was dirty or warped. But no, my reflection wasn't matching the way I felt. I rubbed under my eyes, expecting to see the usual fatigue, but the reflection didn't follow, not right away. I deleted the app that night. It wasn't just the reflection delay, it was the feeling, like I was being watched from the screen instead of through it. But even after uninstalling it, strange things kept happening. My phone would randomly heat up, the screen would flicker, and once, while I was texting Kayla, the camera opened by itself. Just for a second. Just long enough for me to see myself on the screen. Blinking, even though I hadn't. I went full. Paranoid after that. Disabled Wi-Fi. Turned off all app permissions. I even covered the front-facing camera with a sticker. For a while, things calmed down, or maybe I just convinced myself they did. But last night, something changed. I woke up at 3:17 a.m. to the soft click of my phone unlocking. I could hear it, like someone had just tapped the screen. The room was dark, except for the faint glow from my nightstand. And the camera, it was on. At first I thought maybe I rolled over onto the phone, triggered something by accident. But when I picked it up, the camera wasn't facing me. It was set to the front-facing mode, pointed at the ceiling. But there was a face. For a fraction of a second, I saw a face hovering just out of frame. And it was smiling. I froze, staring at the screen, waiting for it to disappear. But there was nothing. Just the empty ceiling above me. My heart was pounding so hard I felt it in my throat. When I checked the app list again, the beauty filter was back. Installed, updated. I know I deleted it, and my phone had no data or Wi-Fi on. I double-checked that before going to bed. I tried to uninstall it again, but the uninstall button was grayed out, like it had somehow become a system app. That's when I noticed the icon had changed too. No longer the soft pastel logo. Now it was just an eye, open, watching. I tried everything, factory reset, safe mode, even taking it to a repair shop the next morning. The tech guy gave me this weird look after plugging it into his system. There's something running in the background, he said. It's not showing up on any of the normal logs. When I asked him to delete it, he hesitated. Then he told me, whatever this is, it doesn't want to be removed. He actually looked scared. I left with my phone powered off and shoved in a drawer. I told myself I'd buy a new one. Maybe go off-grid for a while. That night I caught my reflection watching me again. Not just a glance, watching. I was brushing my teeth, leaned down to spit, and when I looked up, my reflection didn't move. It stayed bent down a beat too long, then slowly lifted its head, staring at me with this unnatural smile stretched too wide across its face. My hand started shaking so badly I dropped the toothbrush. I backed away from the mirror, heart slamming in my chest. And the worst part? The face in the mirror never stopped smiling. I haven't slept. Every screen in my apartment reflects something. Slightly off now. My TV, my laptop, even the black glass of the microwave door, I see her. Me, but not me. She's always smiling, always watching. Last night I covered every reflective surface I could, but at 2:42 a.m. my phone turned back on by itself. The screen lit up, and the camera app launched without me touching it. I didn't even need to. Looked to know what it would show, still I did. And there she was again, my face perfect and glowing, smiling, tilting its head slowly like it was studying me. I don't know what it wants. I don't even know if it's still in the phone or if it ever was. Maybe the app wasn't changing my photos to look better. Maybe it was training something to replace me. If you're reading this and you've downloaded the filter, delete it. Burn your phone if you have to. And if your reflection ever smiles before you do, don't smile back. The following events are based on a true story. Names and details have been altered to protect the identities of those involved, but the horror remains untouched. Watch at your own risk. Story 5. I don't remember installing the app. It was just there, one morning, sitting quietly on my home screen between Spotify and Gmail. The icon was generic, a steering wheel over a black background, no company name. I assumed it was some update from Uber or Lyft, so I didn't question it at first. But that was before the notifications started, before the face, before I realized that the car knew where I lived, even when I didn't open the app. The first ping came during my lunch break. Your carpool driver is en route, it said. I blinked at the message, confused. I hadn't requested anything. When I tapped to cancel, the app opened to a clean, minimal screen showing my exact location in real time, down to the table where I was sitting inside the cafe. A sedan icon was crawling toward me on the map. The driver's photo was pixelated, like a corrupted JPEG. But there was something unsettling about it. Like I knew that face from somewhere, just couldn't place it. I watched the dot on the map inch closer. It stopped right outside the cafe, but no one came in. I glanced through the front window and saw a black car idling. At the curb, no logo, no plates, just tinted windows and a faint hum. I didn't move. I waited, heart thudding for no reason I could explain. After a minute, the car pulled away. No driver texted, no cancellation fee. The app simply refreshed and went silent, as if nothing had happened. That night, I scrolled through my phone trying to find the app in my downloads list. It wasn't there. Not under installed apps, not under permissions, but it was still running. I could feel it. Every few minutes, a flicker of data usage, a shadow notification that disappeared before I could open it. I even tried deleting it, but nothing worked. And the worst part? I started seeing the same unmarked black car parked across the street from my apartment 2 nights in a row, never moving, always watching. I told myself it was just a coincidence. Chicago's full of black sedans. Maybe it was a neighbor's car. Maybe I was just being paranoid. But then I noticed it started appearing wherever I went. Outside my office, near the grocery store. Even once parked 2 blocks ahead during a jog. It never followed me directly. It was just there. Stationary. Waiting. Each time, I felt its presence before I saw it, like a prickling behind the eyes, like being watched through glass too dark to see through. 3 days after the first alert, the app buzzed again. This time, the message was simpler. Let's try again. Step outside. No driver name, no destination. Just that same dead, glitched out profile photo. I didn't move. I stayed inside, staring at my front door like it might swing open on its own. I kept checking the peephole. Nothing. But when I finally cracked the blinds, the black car was there again. This time, idling right in front of my building. Engine running, headlights off. I started taking screenshots, documenting everything, the app notifications, the car, its location. I even recorded a video of it outside my window one night. But every time I tried to show someone, the evidence was gone. Screenshots came up black. Videos were just static. When I checked my phone's data history, it showed no record of the app ever existing. My coworkers laughed it off. Maybe you dreamed it, one of them said. Sleep with your phone too much and it starts dreaming with you. I became obsessed. I started leaving decoy routes, walking to one train stop, then doubling back to another. I switched SIM cards. I left my phone at home, but the car still found me. One night, I borrowed a friend's phone to check the area outside my apartment through a rideshare app. I just wanted to confirm if the car was really there. But when I logged in, the same icon appeared, the same driver photo, even on a different device. And it said, "You're already in the car." I dropped the phone like it burned me. I didn't even look outside. I just turned off all the lights, locked every door and window, and sat in the dark with a knife in my hand. I don't even know how long I waited. Hours, maybe. Every creak of the building felt like footsteps. I kept checking my real rideshare apps, hoping for some kind of normalcy, but even they started glitching. Every map showed that same black car no matter where I said I was going. Then, just after 3 a.m., the push notification came again. "Your driver is arriving now. Please step outside." My stomach turned. I hadn't touched the app in days. I turned my phone off, pulled the battery just to be sure, but the message remained, glowing faintly on the black screen like it was burned in. That was the first time I heard the knock. Not loud, not impatient, just 3 slow, deliberate taps on my front door. I didn't answer. I couldn't. I backed away, knife still in hand, trying to breathe quietly. The knock didn't come again. No voice, no footsteps. Just silence, heavy and absolute. Eventually, I crept to the peephole, but there was nothing there. Just the hallway. Empty. But when I looked down, there were wet footprints, bare, human, leading away from my door and disappearing at the stairwell. I checked every lock again and forced myself to stay awake until morning. I moved out the next day. New apartment, new phone, new number. But the app still shows up. Not every day, but often enough. It updates its icon sometimes, subtle changes I wouldn't notice if I weren't watching for them. I haven't taken a rideshare in months. I walk, even in the rain. And still, once in a while, I get that same notification. Your driver is arriving now. I never ordered a ride. But one day, I'm afraid I won't have a choice.